Today I want to talk about Georgia, or really JT Daniels and Kirby Smart, and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, I want to talk about what the hell was Kirby Smart doing prior to putting JT Daniels in the game in the third week of November. Like, did you see what he did? Now, we can talk about the defense here in a little bit, but JT Daniels, 28, 38, 401 yards, 4 tutties. Like the first 400-yard passing game by a Georgia quarterback since Aaron Murray in 2013. You had this on the bench? You had this third on the depth chart? Like, when JT Daniels decided to transfer to Georgia from USC and Todd Monken was going to be the offensive coordinator, the first thing that I thought was, cool, you have an opportunity to try to compete with Jamie Newman to modernize this offense and to take them out of murder ball. Because Kirby Smart finally succumbed to the idea that you cannot actually win an SEC championship or a national championship game if you can't come from behind and you can't make explosive plays. Now, Georgia's a running football team, but I expected Todd Monken to be able to marry those things after what we saw him do with Baker Mayfield and Nick Chubb and the Cleveland Brown offense. Also added that Monken is the guy that turned Oklahoma State into a world beater. Wes Lunt and Oklahoma State's offense averaged 550 yards a game when he was offensive coordinator in Stillwater. With the kind of talent they had at their disposal at Georgia, I expected them to perform in the way that they did today against Mississippi State, the whole season. And then take into account, what if JT Daniels had played from the jump in the world's largest cocktail party, world's largest outdoor cocktail party, against Florida? And why the hell didn't we see him at all? We saw Stetson Bennett and Dwan Mathis, but no JT Daniels. And even if he was not healthy, you should say so, because there's no getting around how bad a look this is for Kirby Smart. All it does is make him look even more defiant and arrogant in not wanting to put this kid out there. I know that you want to be able to ride behind your quarterback. And if you wanted Stetson Bennett to be that guy, I get that. And after how he had played in Arkansas to steady you, I could get there. But after the Alabama game, there's no need to keep up that charade. He got exposed. He exposed himself. It's time that you give the 5-star quarterback out of Santa Ana Mater Dei, one of the powerhouse high school football programs in America, where he won a national championship, where he passed for 67 touchdowns, and where he was one of the most coveted prospects in the country, a chance to start at quarterback for you at Georgia, and he refused to until Mississippi State. At a time when we had all basically established that Mississippi State ain't very good, and Mississippi State has opt-out after opt-out after opt-out, and they're starting a quarterback that is not KJ Costello. In fact, shout out to Will Rogers, who actually went out there and did a job, 41 of 52 for 336 through the air against Georgia's defense. The joke is, I'm old enough to remember when Georgia's defense was good and didn't give up 24 to Mississippi State and 358 yards of total offense. The other joke is, I'm old enough to remember when the quarterback was bad because, again, looking at JT Daniels, 4 touchdowns, man, 401 yards, moving back there like he knows what he's doing, hitting guys like Jermaine Burton, who had 8 catches for 197 yards. George Pickens had 8 for 87. You get an understanding of how their passing game can be transformed. The only thing I would have liked to see more is a little bit more of the run game, because Georgia's running team, you got Zeus back there, Zamir White, 11 rushes, 21 yards, not going to cut it for you. But you get the 31-24 win. And you're ranked number 13 in the country with losses to Alabama and Florida. What if JT Daniels is the difference between you being 7-0 as opposed to 5-2, and Kirby Smart is just sitting on that? Defensively, Kirby Smart has always liked to employ his cat defense. Our cats are better than your cats. Usually run out of a 3-4 kind of shell. He likes to run a cover 3. He likes to run a high safety and 2 shutdown quarters, right? You got to be able to run man to do that. You got to have first-round draft picks at all 3 of those positions, right? Before Richard LeCounte, had the injury in the motorcycle accident, you probably could get away with that from time to time because I think Eric Stokes is a dude. But even without that, you'd like to think that with the recruiting that goes on at Georgia, winning 2 out of the last 3 recruiting national championships, that they would have enough dudes to even run that defense. But run it against somebody not named Mississippi State, where they run the air raid. The air raid is an offense that is expressly used to take advantage of your man-to-man coverage and your belief that your athleticism is going to save you, when really you could have done what Barry Odom at Arkansas had done, what LSU had done, and just decide, hey, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna run zone against your mess concepts. We're gonna run zone against your 4 verts. We're gonna run zone against anything you want to run out here, and we're just gonna say, if you can find a soft spot in us with all of our athleticism taking up all of this space, by all means. But he didn't want to do that. You got to run 2 high safeties against that. You got to ask your linebackers to pick up the flat and the curl. And you got to be patient and keep things in front of you. I understand if that's not what you want to do, but against Mississippi State, especially against an offense that you have not seen live, perhaps you want to do what everybody else had done to try to beat them and not be so arrogant as to think that your defense is always just going to be the best one or the best unit on the field, no matter who the offense is. I thought you would have learned something from the loss to Alabama and the loss to Florida, but apparently not. Also, shout out to Jalen Wally, who announced himself in a big way for Mississippi State. 7 catches, 115 yards, and a TD. Across the SEC, Auburn gets a win against a bad Tennessee team, 30-17. They moved to 5-2. They're going to stay in the top 25. Missouri gets a win against South Carolina, 17-10. They move to 3-3 and have an opportunity to finish the season with a winning record, which is awesome. LSU narrowly escapes Arkansas. Arkansas was a 3-point favorite going into this game. LSU keeps the boot, wins 27-24. They're 3-3, while Arkansas is 3-5. Florida got off a little bit slow, but ends up beating Vanderbilt 38-17. Kyle Trask continues to put up Heisman caliber numbers. 26 of 35, 3 touchdown passes, 0 INTs, 383 yards. I believe he's going to have to beat Alabama in the SEC championship game to win that Heisman Trophy, but it is within his reach, as it is for Mac Jones and or Najee Harris, depending on which guy has the bigger game in that SEC championship game. I think that Najee Harris is a better player than Mac Jones, but it's a quarterback-driven award. Alabama, for their spot, went 63-3 against Kentucky. Mac Jones, 230 yards passing, 16-24, 2 TDs and a pick. Najee Harris, 13 carries, 83 yards. And then Devontae Smith is doing what Devontae Smith does. 9 catches, 144 yards, 2 tutties. Probably going to win this year's Biletnikoff Award. It was more about the backups in that game as well. Jason McClellan getting 10 rushes for 99 yards. That's nearly 10 yards per carry. That's a walking first down. You'll take that and you'll enjoy that. All right, that is it for me. It is 1 a.m. local time here, trying to get this done just after doing 6 hours of radio on ESPN Radio Game Night with Jeff Dickerson. For those of y'all that listen to us talk about these games and more, I appreciate you. I'm going to go to bed now. Doses.